So good morning. So in the previous sessions, we have discussed about and we have practiced the programs on arrays. So we have seen the various type of declarations and initializations of array. So as well as we have seen the one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, as well as three-dimensional array. So so let us check the difference between one dimension, two dimension, and three dimension. So this is a one-dimensional array. A, B, C. I have declared the three arrays. I have declared the three arrays A, B, C. Array name A, array name B, array name C. So A is a one-dimensional, B is a two-dimensional, C is a three-dimensional array. So let us check the what does the dimension mean. So in single dimensional array, let us check this one. This is a single dimensional array. That means we will give the numbers. So numbers encapsulated with flower braces. So numbers are encapsulated with flower braces. That means group. So this group of numbers. That means group of array. So this is the one-dimensional array. This is one-dimensional array. So two dimensions means we will add the another dimension. That means we will add the another dimension. That means another group of values. So this is the one-dimensional values. One type of this is one group. This is another group. So these two groups are separated by comma. So these two groups are encapsulated by one flower brace. So this is another group. So overall, this one is a group. So further, we will use the flower braces. This is two dimension. So three dimension means we will add another dimension. That means for this comma, for this we can add comma. Then we will add the elements 1, 2, 4. This is a single dimension. For this, we will add second dimension. So this is the second dimension. So this is the third dimension. So this third dimension will be encapsulated with another brace here. So let us see the example below. So this is the single dimension. This is the single dimension. For this, we are adding the second dimension. Up to this is a two-dimensional array. We are adding the another dimension, third dimension. So the simply three-dimensional array is nothing but it's an array of two dimensions. It's an array of two dimensions. Two-dimensional array is nothing but it's an array of one-dimensional array. It's an array of one dimension. It's an array of two dimensions. Three dimensions means it's an array of two dimensions. That means this is one part, this is another part. So this has two dimensions. It's an array of, that means it's a group of two different elements. That is three dimensions. So for this, for display the array, we can use the for each loop. So three dimensions means we have three for loops, three for each loops. So for each first for each loop, we'll give the we will store the two dimensions. That is the array value is A. That means C. Here we have to give the C. Array value is C. Here we are going to display the array collection C. Here the value is C. So C is an array of two dimensions. That's why we have given a variable, declare a variable of two dimensions. Then inner for loop. So here the array collection is X. So we are taking, displaying the X in some other variable Y. So two dimensions means it's the array of single dimension. So that's why I have declared with the dimension. So then inner for loop, I am displaying the K value. I am declaring the K value, and we are taking the collection from Y. So Y is a two dimension. Y is a single dimension. So single dimension means we don't need any array. So we can simply display the array elements. So this is how we can use the single dimension as well as three dimension. So we have the class called array. Already we have explained. We have the predefined class called array. So arrays is a predefined class. So which has some predefined methods like to the string, to copy, like that, sort, the binary, like that. We have so many predefined methods in the um, class called arrays. So this class can be imported from the package util. That means if you want to use that package, means you have to use the import java.util.arrays. Java.util.arrays. So if you import this package, then we can use the methods. So there are so many methods like sort. Sort is a method. And then binary search is a method. And then toString is a method. So like that, we have so many predefined methods. We can use the this method to copy. So like that, we have so many predefined methods in the predefined class arrays. So we can utilize these methods. So this is all about the arrays. So in the arrays, we have another topics like searching and sorting. So we have already seen the searching techniques, binary search and as well as the linear search. So we have another type of search, interpolation search. So that you can read. Then in the sorting, we have selection sort, insertion sort, bubble sort. So all these things, so we can implement those concepts by using the arrays. So the main applications of arrays is in searching techniques as well as in the sorting techniques. So that is the main applications of arrays. So then we will move to the inheritance. So next concept is inheritance. So next concept is inheritance. So inheritance means here we have two classes. So if you want to implement the inheritance concept, we needed two classes. So first one is base class, second one is subclass. So we have two classes. First one is base class, another one is subclass. So that means here the concept is to implement the reusability. That means, so if you have two classes, means each class has its own class members. That means class members are nothing but variables or methods. That means the variables or methods declared in the main class. That means super class. That means here we can call it as the superclass and subclass, or we can call it as a base class and derived class. So here we can follow the terms as base class and subclass. So if the variables or methods used in the base class are used by the subclass, that means let us see the example. Suppose I have defined the class A. The class name is A. So here I am declaring the class members. So the class members are suppose int A, B, C. I have declared the three variables, and I am defining the method display. I am defining the method display, and I am defining another method set. So I have defined the two methods here. So this is one class. So I have defined the class A. So class A has the members, variables and methods, A, B, C, display and set. So these are the methods and variables. So these are the class members. Then I am defining the class B. Then I am defining the class B. So class B is the subclass of class A. So class A is the base class. Class B is the subclass. That means class B extends the properties from class A. That means these variables or methods can be directly implemented by class B. So in order to implement that, we will use the concept of inheritance. So we have the keyword to implement the inheritance, that is extends. Extends A. Extends A. Here I can use that variables int D is equal to A plus B plus C. So I can simply reuse the variables A, B, C. As well as we can reuse the methods into display. It has some so already I am defining the method also. This is the abstract method. The method has no definition. So here I am defining the method. So this is the one method, display method. So same method can be reused in the subclass also. So this is the concept of inheritance. That means we are reusing the class members. So we are reusing the class members in the subclasses. So this is the concept of inheritance. So in order to implement those things, we need a main class. Suppose let us take main one. So this is the main class. This has the public static void main string args, the main method. So the main method is defined. Here we can create the objects. We can create the objects. Through that objects, we can call the methods. We can call the methods. This is the main one. This is the main class. So in inheritance, the programs will be like this. So let us save. So here,
Sir, mic on చేయలేదు sir.
Jason. So here, so I have saved the program. Here we have three classes here. So A, B, and main one. A, B, and main one. We have three classes. So here the concept is to reuse the methods as well as variables. That means class members. So we can use the extends keyword here. Extends A. So we cannot extend the at a time 2-3 classes. C as well as D. So this is not possible in Java. So let us observe this. A, C, D. At a time we cannot extend more than one class. Class B extends only single class, either class A or class C or class D. At a time, class B cannot extend 3 classes. So that is not possible in Java. That means multiple inheritance. So multiple inheritance cannot supported by the Java. So we can extend only single class. Here we can only extend single class. We cannot extend more than one class here. We cannot extend more than one class here. So we have so many variations in the inheritance. So this is single inheritance. That means single base class, single subclass. So we can have multi-level inheritance. So multi-level inheritance means, so the class B extends class A. Then we have another class. Another class is C. So the class C. So the class C extends class B. The class C extends class B. So then this is another class. Then class D. Again, I am defining another class D. Class D extends class C. So this is multi-level inheritance. That means so A extends B, B extends A, then C extends B, D extends C. That means for each level the subclass and base class are varies. So in the first case, so let us see this one. So in the first case, which is the subclass and which is the superclass? Class B is subclass and class A is superclass. Class A is superclass. So in the while coming to the next case, here class C is subclass and class B is superclass. Superclass. So here in the previous step, B is subclass. So in the next step, B becomes the superclass. That means base class. Base class. So this type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance. That means B extends A, C extends B, D extends C. So here, this order will follow like this. In the next case, also like this. So here subclass will become superclass here. In the next level, subclass will become superclass. In the next level, here subclass is C. So in the next level, C becomes superclass. So this type of inheritance is multi-level inheritance. Next, we have another type, that is hierarchical inheritance. So hierarchical inheritance means, so class B extends the class A. So class C also extends from class A. Class D also extends from class A. So this is called hierarchical inheritance. So all the subclasses are inherited from base class A. So this type of inheritance is called hierarchical inheritance. So these are the different types of inheritance. Then we have seen the multiple inheritance. That means, so multiple inheritance is not directly supported by Java. So by using the concept of interfaces, we can implement the multiple inheritance to some extent. So in this concept, we'll come across the method overriding. So in the previous sessions, we have seen the method overloading. That means the method name is same, but the signature is different, but the parameter list is different. That is method overloading. Then here inheritance, we will get the concept of method overriding. So overriding means if you write on a paper anything, we can override that. That means override means we can write on the same line. Suppose if I write here, let us example. I have write the Java here, Java programming. So again, I am going to write on this. Suppose I have take the another editor and I have clicked here. Here I am writing the Java programming. Here I am writing the Java programming. See here. So this is called overriding. This is called overriding. Same letters, same print at the same level. So this is overriding. This is method overriding. So the method name is same, parameter list is same, return type is also same. So here all the things are same. That is called method overriding. So there is a there is a need to identify the difference between method overloading and method overriding. So let us see one example regarding method overriding. So we can use the virtual lab. So let us go further. So in this, I have opened the virtual lab. So let us implement the method overriding. So let us implement the method overriding. So let us check the theory. What is the method overriding? So here, identify the rules to the method must have the same name as parent class. Method has same name. Okay. The method must have the same parameter as the parent class, and there must be a easier relation. So easier relation means inheritance. In the DBMS, will come to this concept easier. That means inheritance. So if you follow all these three rules, you can implement the method overriding. Let us see one example here. Suppose, so he has taken the one class bank, and he is going to return the get rate of interest. This is the method. So this is the method he has created. So he's going to extend the properties. Class SBA extends the properties of bank. Extends the properties of bank. That means SBA is the subclass, bank is a superclass. So here is calling the method get rate of interest. So return 8. So the program aim is to return the rates, bank interest rates. So here he has taken SBI, ICICI, Axis Bank. He has taken 3 banks, and he is going to return the rate of interest. So SBI interest rate is 8. So here he called the method int get rate of interest. So this method is same as parent class method. Parent class method, but here the value is changed. The definition is changed here. Method definition is changed. So the method name is same. The method return type is same. The method parameter list is same, but the definition is changed. So this is method overriding. So he has taken the another class, ICICI extends bank. Here also same method. Next, Axis Bank extends the properties from bank. So all the 3 banks extends the properties of bank. That means the methods which are used in the method bank can be used in the subclasses. So this is all about the inheritance method overriding. So to implement that, we need a main class, a driver class. So the class name is test2. So this is the main method. He's creating the objects for 3 banks, SBI, ICICI, Axis. So he is creating the 3 banks, 3 objects for 3 banks, and then he is displaying the interest rate. So that is, he is calling the method yes dot get interest rate, I dot get interest rate, A dot get interest rate. So 3 methods are called with 3 objects. So here the first output is 879. So 879 will be displayed. So this is the method 879. So this is the method overriding. So the same method can be used. So the method overriding can be used in the inheritance only. So let us simulate this example. So one more thing. So here, which type of inheritance is this? SBI, ICICI, Axis, which extends the properties of bank. Which type of inheritance is this? Not a single inheritance. So we have three subclasses here, one base class. So if we have single subclass and single base class, then we can call it the single inheritance. We have three subclasses here. Which type of inheritance is this? Yes, hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance. All the three banks are extending the properties from bank. All the three banks are extending the properties from bank. That means for all the cases, the base class is same. Here the bank, here the bank, here the bank. For all the cases, the super class is same. So that's why it is a hierarchical inheritance. So let us simulate this one. Start experiment. So creating the class, suppose, let us take the same example. The class is bank. The class name is bank. So in the bank, we are defining the method irate. I'm defining the method as irate. Main, I'm displaying some definition, main bank. Next. So I am defining the bank as SBA. SBA is a subclass and a superclass is bank. Next, SBA. Void method name is irate. Here the method name is irate. I am displaying the SBI bank. Next. So I am creating the one object SBI yes. Creating the object yes. I'm going to call the method irate. Next. Execute. So SBI bank. So let us see the program here. So this is the syntax followed in the above demo. So this is the, I think this is better. So I can create the program here. So I am creating the class bank. So I am creating the class bank. So here I am displaying the one method. So let us try to run this one. I'm creating the method irate. So I'm defining the method as return 0. So this is my class bank. So I'm creating another class SBA. So let us save this. The letters will be, the program name is the main class name is, let us say main2. So here you can understand this. So I'm creating the subclass SBA which extends the properties from bank, which extends the properties from bank. So then I have to reuse the method irate. The method name is irate. So I have to return the interest rate. So SBA interest rate is 5%. Let's say. So this is the SBA class. Then I am defining the another class ICI. So which extends the properties from bank. That means so the same method can be reused here. Int irate. So let us check this one. So I have created the three classes, three banks, three different subclasses, and I have created the main class, main2. So here I have created the three objects, SIA, and then I am printing the values. So let us save this and run the program. Java C main2.java. So let us check the errors. So there is no errors. So I'm running the program 567. So 567. So if I call the object with the method S, I can call the method with an object S, then the interest rate 5 will be displayed. That means SBA bank's rate will be displayed. If I call the object of with I, ICICI bank rate will be displayed. If I call the object with A, then Axis bank rate will be displayed. So this is called the inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and then here we are implementing the so here we are implementing the method overriding also. So then it can be treated as polymorphism also. Polymorphism means more than one form. So here the method is irate. All the cases the method is irate. That means same method can have different forms. Polymorphism, polymorph. That means more than one forms. So in this case the method acts as like this 5. In this case the method acts as 6. In this case the method acts as 7. So this can be treated as polymorphism also. And then we have said that dynamic runtime polymorphism, dynamic method dispatch. So that can be achieved by creating the reference object of type So runtime polymorphism can be achieved by creating an object of type superclass. So bank, suppose take the object as reference one, ref1 is equal to. So here the object is yes. Here the object is yes. Here the object is yes. So we can implement this with ref1 with irate. Then with the same reference object, I am assigning to the I. Then I can implement this with reference one dot irate. Then same object ref1 is equal to object name is A. So it can be implemented with ref ref1.iref. So there are some network issues. So let us quickly check this program. So this is the dynamic method dispatch. That means runtime polymorphism. So runtime polymorphism can be implemented by using the some object of type superclass. So the superclass is bank here. I am creating the object and I am assigning the each object. I am assigning the S to this one. I am assigning the I to this one. I am assigning A. So I am calling the method by using this reference object. By using the reference object, I am calling the method. So this is called runtime polymorphism. This is called dynamic method dispatch. So this is all about the inheritance. So in tomorrow's class, tomorrow's class is also you can practice the programs. So identify yourself. All of you identify the concepts you want to revise. So tomorrow's class is kept for revision. So any topics do you want to revise or do you want to practice the programs? Let me know. Then we can continue. So from day after tomorrow, we can start the interfaces. So tomorrow class, if you have any doubts or anything, we can discuss. So be prepared for tomorrow's class. So identify the topics which you want, identify the programs which you want. So this is all about today's class. So we can continue in the next class. Thank you.